Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the south side as the Nor Eclipse. Kindle, we have BoltFoot. Spawn on the north side as the Pink Cosmos Sasha. We got Dorfl. Probably butchered both of those names quite well. By the way, this appears to be a lab map, but I only see one lab on the map for both sides, so effectively that's an HQ with less defense, and I think no income as well. HQs provide income, right? Either way, let's see now. There's airports on the edge of the map. We got infantry near them. We also have infantry close to these bases, so easy to claim. Looks like player 2 has a lot of easy captures, a little bit slower capture for Pink, both on the airport and the central bases, so maybe a little bit too much edge on player 2. It's hard to tell what would be good balance for player 2, honestly. Better come from me. This map does offer 4 ports, but remember as well, there's a shore there, so ships can advance over here. So no forward battleships, just backline battleships. There's also a handful of shores here, so maybe some lander or black boat play. Not sure. That could be okay. I don't know if that's going to be quite reasonable, but there is a mountain there, so the base can't deploy out this direction, can it? So a lander or black boat would have to do, or at least a lander. Black infantry can always cross over the mountain, so black boat's not absolutely needed. So that's sort of interesting. We do also got column towers on the right and left as well, and a good number of properties everywhere. So this is interesting. It's a potentially quadruple base map with an airport. There's also this port here, but of course there is rivers and a railroad bridge there. No sea towers nor shore towers, so everything's just gonna be stuck there. So yeah, should be a pretty interesting map. A lot of chains of forest. Let's see how well it goes. So let's go ahead and get the game started. Sasha does of course have 10% increased income, while Kindle does specialize fighting from urbanized terrain. Do note, spent missile platforms, as you see on the map, does not provide any sort of benefits. Kindle does have a staggering 40% wall firing from a property, which is a significant amount to say the least. And with 4 bases, her Urban Blight should be particularly effective draining funds. And since there's no fog in the war map, she can perhaps be a little bit selective when deploying it. Maybe try to smite some Neo-tanks. Probably won't want to say Mega Tank. This is... oh, it is high funds. So we may see some Mega Tanks. I was not paying attention to that. If I remember correctly as well, Sasha's value when it comes to high funds plus 100 per property means it's only 5% increase, not 10% increase. It's 100 plus 100 regardless what sort of funding type, if I were to remember correctly. Yep, I only see the hundreds going up by, well, 100. So quadruple base high funds. I have no idea how that's going to go. I don't think Sasha's market cap's going to be super great, because with high funds, it would be easy for Kindle to get her not high society, urban blight. We may actually see war bonds and high society. There's actually a decent number of properties on the map, though we're going to have to see how many properties she captures in order to see her damage buffs, like plus 3% per property as a global power. It's one of those mechanics that seems good on paper, but honestly, if it's not balanced just right, it's more of a win more mechanic, since you generally want more properties to begin with, if you really think about it. I just realized something as well, since there's rivers here, and a mountain here, so these tanks cannot enter south, they have to go around. I have a feeling this is going to get pretty messy. You got 2 factories going to be engaged in 1 factory. Of course, you can always try to flank down here. Yeah, this is a weird map. The more I look at it, the more I'm just weirded out by it. But now we've got a tide of tanks being pulled out by Sasha, and artillery piece. I think Kindle needs to go tech up to medium or neo tank at this point in time. She has 24,000. She can invest into any of those. Probably medium tank would be good. Kindle does have artillery piece here. Does get a strike. It just got done capturing. I suppose an artillery, not artillery. Artillery can lock down this base a little bit, but maybe a rocket here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I would hazard a guess a rocket could be pretty good here. It remembers high funds as well, so it is a possibility. High funds do open up a lot more high-tech plays. Kindle does go for a full neo tank. She does have 3,000 funds left over, so she can go for a triple infantry. War buns could be pretty nice with Sasha. It does give you a value return upon doing damage. There's Neo Tank by Sasha. She's going to counter Neo Tank with Neo Tank. So Kindle's going to be a little behind, but she probably has stabilized. Maybe, I want to say maybe get to try out a rocket or two, but right here is not forward enough to really warrant it. The rocket here could be interesting, help lock down the region, funnel stuff towards into a choke point. Then an artillery piece down here could be useful. A lot of possibilities, up to the creativity of these players at this point. And don't take my word as law, because it's probably wrong. Get some interrupts there. Right now, Kindle does have an economic advantage, so I'm not going to worry about number of properties at this point in time. I'm going to just focus on number of comm towers and total income at this point in time, since Sasha does change that meaning a little bit. And neither of them have a powerful day-to-day, barring outside of the properties and income. So on open ground, they are equal. Though Sasha would not technically necessarily be equal, since she would just simply have more forces in the field. Sasha's going for a handful of mechs down here. Maybe I cross the rivers relatively quickly, since mechs do have regular move speed across rivers and mountains, unlike infantry. I would imagine mechs' heavy equipment will slow them down when trying to fjord a river. I suppose in high funds as well, battleships as a heavy static emplacement are a possibility. No black cannon, but they would do. Finish off that one unit. Good little interrupt there. The Neo Tank has not moved just yet. It's actually somewhat hard to tell since the black noir color scheme. And here's the thing about as well when it comes to Kindle and her properties. If you try to interrupt or a capture, you can completely forfeit the capture. For example, let's just say a tank strikes this infantry unit here, and say it interrupts the capture. Kindle can just simply back off the infantry unit, put the tank on there to retaliate against the tank, and get a plus 40% damage, effectively one-shotting it. I view Kindle's property bonus as a retaliation bonus most of the time, as well as being situationally useful in certain situations. But it's mostly, I think it's a retaliation tool. Kindle has pulled her black boat off of her lab to repair up the infantry unit, so it's permanently barred from there. Not sure if that's worth it, because now the lab is exposed and there's only one lab I can see on the map, which means this is effectively HQ. And now there's nothing protecting it, and there is some Sasha infantry. Good strike there. Not a Kindle tank on the property. Nice little wall of tanks. Adequate enough not to be broken through, other than by very valuable units, but it'll be enough to protect her own very valuable units, as you can see. Both of them 2 Neo Tanks of region, but Pink's in a much better position, and now got the market crash. So plus percent offense, defense at the moment, and Kindle's powers have been reset. But the more Sasha does that, the more she will increase the cost. And Kindle's power is not too terribly expensive. Right now it's at 27,000 as the maximum cost, and this is at 21,000. Eventually, Market Crash will be more expensive than the possible power denial. So this will be equalized pretty quickly, and Kindle's more known for a good power rather than a superpower. So Market Crash is actually not super useful at the moment, and maybe should be deployed a bit more limitedly than Spam, because she only has a couple times that she can deploy it out in the field before it just becomes not worth or becomes more costly to deny. Though one thing she could do, now think about it, is she can pop the Market Crash when she deploys out a valuable unit, like this Neo Tank, to deny the Urban Blight to strike it. That's maybe the best way she can use Market Crash. I think she needs to cool it down a little bit. Don't pop it immediately every single time. It's a situational power in which you can help control what situation your opponent deploys it at. If you think your opponent's going to get the Urban Blight, don't deploy anything valuable to help save some fundings. Of course, that's sometimes easier said than done. Kindle does have Hair Comm Tower, while Sasha does not. I'm not sure who's technically is supposed to own this one. This seems like something that would be more safe for this direction and this direction, but that's neither the case. Sasha does also have to be careful how she sets up her walls, because she has a nice little wall here, but if this tank gets broken, then there's also a jump off point to really punch through the wall with the property attack. So gotta be careful, perhaps not move the Neo tank on this road, keep the Neo tank away from this property, or really any property, prevent it from being smashed real hard. It may be a good wall, but its own the ground below it to help protect it can also break it. Got some battlecrafts being pulled in the field. Right now, battlecrafters seem pretty useful. Both players just been using Neo tanks, which I'm always a fan of, because most of cast games are not high funds, and so Neo tank's a bit of a rarity. So it's just nice to see something different. Right now, Kindle does have a massive economic advantage. Kindle's a little bit weaker in the center. Sasha's pretty strong in the center, but Kindle has pretty much free reign along the flanks. This battlecraft can help harass these sectors here, and Kindle is actually more primed to capture some of these properties than Sasha as well. So it's going pretty well for Kindle at the moment. Sasha's just being too passive for her Neo tanks. Kindle's going for the break. Takes out the artillery piece and will strike the Neo tank, giving pretty good damage there. Mark, and now got an Urban Blight there. Strikes this tank there by a bunch of stuff across the map. And with the economic difference, this should be very useful for Kindle to even make a large economic difference, since Sasha will be repairing up a decent number of units. A battlecopter, infantry, actually another tank, infantry, of course a Neo tank and mech. She's at 27,000 at the moment. A Market Crash is actually probably not a good idea. If I were to revert back a little bit, Kindle has only 2,500 in the next Urban Blight. Easy denial, of course, but that's nothing. This is only meant for the plus attack and defense capability, which may not be necessary. She has a good number of Neo tanks this region. This one is in range of the 8 health one. I think the 9 health one, the 4 health one could have stacked himself on the 8 health one, bring the 9 health one, smash the what's left of that 8 health one. Yes, 4 strikes on all those Neo tanks, but we do have 2 Neo tanks in reserve. This one is out of range, but this one's in range, so we'll get a first strike there. Overall, seems like Sasha's Neo tanks are a little bit more healthy. Finish off that one. Yeah, I don't think that market crash was a good idea. Honestly, if she was able to squeeze out, she was actually pretty close to her superpower. If she was squeeze out her superpower, that could have been decent, because that was a lot of Neo tank engagements. If she was somehow able to squeeze that out, she could have got a decent value return to help even out the funding difference. Because right now, look at this, 33 to 54. Kindle was starting to run away with the game. She's doesn't have to take cost-effective engagements, just have to take cost-effective enough engagements. A number of mechs down here for Kindle, which is not super useful against all the infantry. There is a battle copter region, so she'll be able to clean everything up. Multiple battle copters. It may have been better to merge the two Neo tanks rather than trying to go back and heal up, but if she's just trying to finish off some of the light tanks and some of the wounded Neo tanks, it may be adequate. And we do have a Kindle bomber on the flank, and no one single anti-air there. An anti-air can be easily countered by a bomber. What was that? I'm trying to think of all of that. What exploded? Oh, was it just that Neo tank getting finished off by an infantry unit and I wasn't paying attention? Perhaps. Yeah, it was. Oops, my bad. Infantry engaging the Mac. Yeah, more battlecopters just seem like a good idea right now in this region. It's hard for Kindle to reinforce this area. It's all about tanks you should set up this way. There's no lander here to bring stuff up here, so battlecopters should have freer reign. And so she could project her way downwards to the lab and try to go for victory like that. Kindle over here is doing quite well, not posing a threat to the lab either. I think they probably should either threaten the lab a little bit more. And Kindle is eyeing to capture this port. If she gets this port, that course could allow her to build a forward battleship. And this is probably a good time for a market crash, but get some free power charge, which is always a good idea. Artillery piece pushing forward. Doesn't interrupt the capture of the port. Market crashes there, but looks like Kindle may still be able to get her Urban Blight. He's a 7 health Neo tank rather than 9 health. Urban Blight active. And here's something I want to point out. You see this infantry on top of that port? You can get a pretty good counterattack on the infantry unit. Of course, still the tank there. Let's see, 2 elf medium tank or light tank can get ripped apart by a Neo tank. Rocket. Oh, that rocket will base block herself, but that should be a massive amount of firepower. Pretty good amount of damage. Right now, Kindle has 30 properties. Sasha only has 17. Yeah, Kindle's economy is just doing very, very well. Nobody's there's still a neutral compound in this field, so Sasha or Kindle still has a plus 10% firepower benefit. Bomber heading up north. Does not take out that Neo tank. It's basically down to 1% health. Battlecopter pushed forward, didn't even strike the mech there. Not sure why you move it right next to the anti-air, not fire. I wonder, is she just going to resign? That probably seemed like a bit of a resignation move. She basically did nothing. And everything's just getting cleaned on up. I think she just basically has resigned without actually resigning. Because Kindle just clean swept there. And that is the end of the replay. This is Angrade saying thank you for watching and on to the next replay.